What's up, crypto heads? I hope all is good for you today. My last video I left off, I want to show you what ended up happening. I put my cursor exactly on the bottom of that wick where the dump stopped, and I'll go over here to the left. And in my video, I was specifically talking about if it broke down through the support area, which I'll get to here in a second. I'll put my chart on the screen here in a second, but I just want to show you first from the bottom of that wick, go left. Look at where that's at. That bounced directly off the top of this lower range, which is the 53,000 area that I was talking about. On my chart is 53,300. Let's get my chart on the screen. If you're a bull and you don't want the price to dump further, you might be in luck because that's clearly the purple line here I have is marking. Now my chart's on here, so the purple line is what I'm talking about. And see how close that is? I mean, that's just right there off the top of that range. The top of that range is actually 53,100. And this wick here, where I put the purple line, is 53,300. So, let's not get picky. That's a clear bounce off the top of the lower range. And as I was trying to say before my cat and my distractions happened, that's a good thing. If you do not want the price to come down, that's a good thing that happened. I'll show you one other good thing. The previous low in this range we've been in since March is this white line here, horizontal, 56,541. Okay, so Bitcoin came down hard, as I'm sure you're well aware of. That was reminding me of last cycle crashes. This did not take long. It was rapid, and there's some bullish things in here, in my opinion. Now, with that being said, this could still come down to 50,000, maybe even the high 47s, but let's not talk about that right now. I want to show you some good things. Yesterday's daily candle, this is the daily candles, closed just a hair above that white line. That was really good. That was a good sign. Now, the daily candle we're on now, which will close in about 12 hours. I'm making this video 6:45 a.m. Saturday morning, Central United States time. Currently, it is above that white line, so it did dip down below it, and now it's up there above it, and that's very, very crucial for Bitcoin to stay above 56,541. As long as it stays up there, there could be a decent bounce coming, but this could very easily just kind of fade away and then come back down here. So on my chart, let's zoom out here, and this chart's working really well. In my last video, I was talking about if Bitcoin came down through this support here, which was a good support area, if it came down through there, then there wasn't a stop. This is just how it works. If you go over here to the left, you see this here? When Bitcoin just went soaring up through there, there's absolutely no resistance through there. Okay, and that's what I said in my last video. And then in my last video, I actually realized that this range here is correlating with the this heart line and this big green channel coming down here. So I said that would be a really good place of support if the support above it failed. And lo and behold, look at that. That's not directly off the heart line, but look at that right there. Boom. That's really close. And and it is a bounce off the heart line. It's just not absolutely neurotically perfect. So now this area I was talking about is support yesterday in my last video. That's now resistance. And we've got a whole lot of things going on in here. This green line coming down here, the top of my macro descending parallel channel, is now resistance. So the price of Bitcoin has came back down. As you can see, obviously, it has came back down into the macro channel. And this line coming down here on top, that line there, is resistance now, and it could stay down here for a while. So it's kind of a coin flip at this point in my mind if it's going to if there's going to be a nice healthy bounce from this area, or if it's going to come back down to 53,000 area, perhaps lower. So if it came down to the macro channel here, you're talking about the high 40s. I just don't think that's going to happen. And if it does happen, I don't think it's going to be like anytime today. With that being said, now it could, but this is just what to watch for. It needs to maintain, in my opinion, Bitcoin price needs to close daily candles above 56,541. But the problem with that is it's got these two parallel channels coming down right over the top of that, right? So Bitcoin needs to stay above this white line. But how does it stay above this white line without breaking out of the macro channel? See? And, it could ride down something like this, but I don't want to speculate too far. But my point being is that crunch time is coming. Bitcoin absolutely does need to stay above 56,541 because that's the bottom of the range we've been in since March, right? And then, as I said in my last video, and I've already spoken about it again, if Bitcoin comes down below this white line and stays down there for quite a while, there's no correlating support over here until you get down to 53,000. So, I don't know what's going to happen for sure. No one does. If they did, they'd be trillionaires. But that's it, right? That's what I'm watching for. And why did this dump happen? I just want to show you. I want to show you some things because there's probably a lot of fear out there. Well, I know there's a lot of fear out there. Now, in my analysis, I've always been saying, even if Bitcoin did come back down here, this is still healthy, right? Because the post-halving pump we haven't even got to yet. That's probably what a lot of analysts are missing, right? So let me just mark on this chart before I go and talk about Mt. Gox and the German government with their like $12 billion worth of Bitcoin that they're supposedly going to be dumping. That's one of the reasons why they're saying that this last dump happened. But let me mark on here just for your mind's eye the last cycle. Now, Bitcoin is on a 3-year and 11th month cycle. You can call it 4 years if you want. Last cycle, the post-halving pump did not start until, let's put a vertical line here, actually. It didn't start until right about this ballpark. Boom. See that yellow vertical line? The post-halving pump last cycle did not even start until this yellow line. And that's just when it started to get going, right? The first parabolic top was put, here's for perspective, was about in this ballpark here. Boom. These numbers aren't perfect, but whoops. Because I know a lot of people are scared out there, and I just want to try to put your mind at ease. If you're just investing and buying on the spot market, you should be buying right now, and you should be buying. If this goes lower, you should just continue to buy. Do not sell. Okay, so about this ballpark here, last cycle is where the parabolic pump basically ended, and then it just kind of, the price of Bitcoin, like last cycle, let me just draw in like last cycle, whatever is going to happen in through here, right? This is where the last cycle parabolic pump started, and it's just kind of something like this, right? And there's corrections on the way up. I'm just not drawing them in, and don't look at the price or anything. This is just time wise. This vertical line here is April, and this was basically the end of the parabolic pump in Bitcoin. Now it went like this, right? Right, and then boom, and then boom, right, boom, something like that, right? So that's just for time, just these two yellow vertical lines. I just want to try to make you not forget what you're looking at right now. The last post-halving pump did not even start until this yellow line here. Now let's zoom in. This is just something for you to remember, because if you're watching videos and paying attention to social media, you can get real confused. And I just want to try to give you something to look at to help drown out the noise that I know that you're hearing. this vertical line, it didn't even start. Like literally did not even start until this yellow vertical line. Right. And this cycle, I do believe this was only the mid-cycle pump, right? This was the mid-cycle pump that just came up higher and went longer to the right. And now it's coming down. And so we still have, this would be like October, early October, end of September. But actually it's a month forward because it's a 3-year 11th month cycle. So I should have this yellow line. My bad. This yellow line should be over here in about this ballpark, right? And then this is last cycle. This is where the pump started, and it took some time to get going, and that's that, right? You got what I'm saying. But real good news for the bulls is that this is above 56,541, which is indicating to me that Bitcoin is still in this range up here on top, right? It made a run to try to go back down and get into this range, right? But it did not do it. So what I'm saying is if Bitcoin came down, it's basically in between these purple lines. If Bitcoin came down here and got stuck down here underneath 53,300, then you're talking about being in this range, right? But it did not do that. Therefore, Bitcoin is, and like I said, about this over here on the left where I'm taking the scribbles off. When Bitcoin came up through here, this area here, there was absolutely no resistance. Okay. So when it came down through here, there was basically no support whatsoever until it bounced off the top of that range, like I've already said. And if you notice what happened right after that on that one same daily candle, do you see what I'm talking about? There was also virtually no resistance for Bitcoin on the way back up here. The resistance was found. Let's go down to the hourly. I'll wrap this video up because it's getting kind of long. The resistance was clearly found at this white line, the 56,541. It's a very, very, very crucial battleground for the price of Bitcoin. And it's got to be, something's got to give here. But as you can see, there was really no resistance coming down. But over here, there was really no resistance coming up. See that? Just came right back up. And then the resistance was that white line, 56,541. And it's tested it and 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 tested it. This is the hourly candles. And it's currently above it. Right? So that's just it, man. There's really nothing else for me to watch except for that white line. And this will be a little different numbers on different exchanges and different trading pairs. I'm on Femex, Bitcoin USDT pair. And so, like I said, this is these lines here are that one's the top of the macro parallel channel, which is a key resistance. Right, so Bitcoin is in make it or break it territory, or that's the little green channel on top. This one here is the top of that macro channel. So my last video I was saying that should be good support. Now that it's below there, that should be good resistance. See, that's working. So this white line 56,541 needs to be support. But at the same time, there's heavy resistance lines directly above it. So it's basically in this little, this, I could basically say you could play this like a triangle. It's not, but well, it is kind of, if you use this one. Let's make a triangle. Let's turn that yellow. I just want to show you this, where it's at. This is a very, it's in like a pinch zone, right? Something has to snap. Up or down, right? So let's put a yellow triangle right there. See how this working? There's a natural triangle in my geometry right there. There's also one, I can also put it here. There's also one kind of there. See that? The natural geometry of this. And my chart's working really well. I suggest you draw this in. And it's kind of come back up, right? And it is kind of in a triangle right now, which I would have never noticed that. No one's probably even noticed that. That triangle was there before the price did anything, right? That triangle's always been there on my chart. Bitcoin has just now found its way into it. So that's something to watch, right? And then there's also this second triangle in here. So, right, this is a big, big crunch zone. And say it just ignored this triangle and say it came out here like this, right? This is a huge crunch zone. And if it can get up here, that could be a big breakout up. But if it fails, then it could be taking another run down. And I just don't know if it's going to go up or down. It's 50-50. I'm long and I'm shorting. I'm longing and I'm shorting. I'm in a hedge position. Show you my trade here. I'm in my long. I had a chance to get out of my long earlier. I didn't do it, and it's no big deal. This is my swing trade. You can see my long is heavy underwater, and I've just recently opened up a smaller short, and so I have trades set up. See these 6 active orders here where my cursor's at. I have 6 orders set to trigger at the liquidation price of my long, which is at 51,000. And I've just recently opened another short, a smaller short, because if the price comes down, I want to be able to take some profit and then probably stick that back under my long, or just wait and see what happens. But what happens if it pumps up? So this is a small short, and it's got a liquidation price of 70,000. So I can just let that sit there, right? This is how I'm hedging. If the price goes down, I can take profit on that short, right? And if the price goes up, I have until 70,000 to take profit on my long. So at 70,000, the profit on that long will be like $4,000. See how it's working? And at that time, I can stick another $1,000 into this short in the high 60s or whatever, and jerk my entry price up way up on that short, right? And then eventually take short profit on that short, later on the next correction. Or it just comes down in the next hour and I take profit on that short. That's just how different this can go. But I do want to tell you to get familiar with hedge mode. Now, some places you might not be able to do it on the same screen, but you can make sub accounts. You can make several different sub accounts on exchanges. So you can be longer on one and shorting on the other. And I highly, highly suggest I highly suggest you learn how to use hedge to hedge your positions. It's basically how Wall Street never loses, right? Because they have different kinds of products where they can long on the markets, on stock markets, and then they can like use options or just short on the stock market, right? They're long and they're short all the time, and they're just taking profit on the one that's in profit, and being a bull or a bear is just psychological nonsense that you need to eliminate from your mind. Who cares? As an investor, of course, you just want it to go up, but as a trader, who cares? I don't. The price goes down, fine. Price goes up, that's fine. Okay, now what? So that's it. All right, have a good day. Later. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's see here real quick. If Bitcoin broke up, there would be resistance up here around 59,000 to 60,800. And this one more real important one that I want to tell you is if Bitcoin does break up here in the near future, or say in a couple of days, like Monday and Tuesday next week, the 60,800 is a crucial line of support that I have marked in gold here. And I mean, it's resistance on the way up. But if it can get above 60,800, then you're likely in business for a further continuation. And this very well could be the reversal. Right? This dip down to 53,300. That could be a complete uh, macro market reversal off of that. That could be, and I'm not saying it is, but that could be a bottom that scares the death out of everyone. And like I say, $100 billion came out of the market, so that could be something that triggers, and so it does something like this. But right, that could be right, and then out here further to the right is the halving cycle pump. So that's something I've been kicking around, something to keep in your mind. But that's it. I said enough. 56,541. Can it hold above there? That's all I got to say for this video, even though I just went on for a half hour. Later.